Dr. Amelia Reeves had always prided herself on her attention to detail. After 15 years studying xenobiology aboard Europa Station, she could spot irregularities in alien physiology that others missed entirely. But the readings she was seeing now made no sense whatsoever. She leaned closer to her holographic display, adjusting the bioscanner's parameters for the third time. The data remained unchanged. Ambassador Keth's cellular activity showed patterns unlike anything in her extensive database of Zeltharian biology. "Run it again," she muttered to herself, initiating another deep tissue scan. The Meridian Research Station hummed quietly around her as the morning shift began. Through the curved transparasteel windows of her lab, Europa's ice-covered surface stretched endlessly beneath Jupiter's massive presence. It was a sight that never failed to inspire her, but today her focus remained fixed on the troubling biosignatures. Keth had arrived 3 months ago as part of the ongoing cultural exchange program between Earth and Zeltha Prime. The tall, elegant being with their silver-toned skin and luminous amber eyes had been the picture of health during initial screenings. Their species was known for remarkable biological stability. Zeltharians rarely experienced illness or significant physiological changes throughout their extended lifespans, which made today's readings all the more disturbing. The scanner showed dense cellular clusters forming beneath Keth's epidermis, concentrating primarily along their forearms and spine. The formations appeared crystalline in structure, completely foreign to normal Zeltharian anatomy. More concerning was the electromagnetic signature emanating from these clusters, a steady pulse that seemed to intensify with each passing hour. Amelia cross-referenced the data with every xenobiological database available to the research station. Seasonal adaptations, viral infections, genetic variations, nothing matched what she was observing. The crystal-like formations appeared to be growing at an accelerated rate, developing complex geometric patterns that resembled circuitry more. In biological tissue. Her communication device chimed softly. "Dr. Reeves," came the voice of her research assistant. "Ambassador Keth has arrived for their weekly health assessment." "Send them in," she replied, quickly organizing her data files. When Keth entered, Amelia noticed subtle changes immediately. The ambassador moved with less fluidity than usual, their normally graceful gait slightly stiff. Their clothing, a formal diplomatic robe, was cut differently today, with longer sleeves and a higher collar. "Good morning, Dr. Reeves," Keth said, their voice carrying its usual melodic quality despite an underlying tension. "I hope you're well." "Good morning, Ambassador. Please, have a seat." Amelia gestured to the examination platform. "How have you been feeling lately?" A brief hesitation crossed Keth's features. "Quite well, thank you. Perhaps a bit tired, but nothing unusual for someone adjusting to your station's atmospheric conditions." Amelia nodded, though her trained eye caught the micro-expressions Keth couldn't quite suppress, a tightness around their eyes, the way they favored their left side while moving. Most telling was how they kept their arms close to their body, avoiding the expansive gestures that normally accompanied their speech. "I'd like to run a few additional scans today," Amelia said gently. "Some routine cellular analysis to ensure you're adapting well to our environment." The flash of alarm in Keth's amber eyes was so quick that most people would have missed it entirely. Ambassador Keth stood alone in their private quarters, staring at their reflection in the polished metal surface of their bathroom wall. The diplomatic facade they'd maintained during Dr. Reeves' examination had drained them completely. Now, in the safety of solitude, they could finally acknowledge what was happening to their body. The crystalline formations had spread overnight. What began as small, rice grain-sized bumps along their forearms now covered most of their torso in intricate, lattice-like patterns. Each crystal pulsed with a soft blue-white light that intensified whenever they experienced strong emotions. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. But the physical changes were nothing compared to the mental intrusions. As Keth moved through their quarters, fragments of thoughts that weren't their own flickered through their consciousness. Dr. Reeves' concern about the unusual readings, and maintenance workers' worry about his sick child. The station cook's pride in tonight's dinner menu. The thoughts came in waves, sometimes gentle whispers, other times overwhelming floods of foreign consciousness. They pressed their palms against their temples, trying to block out the mental noise. During the examination, it had taken every ounce of their diplomatic training to maintain composure while Dr. Reeves' analytical mind buzzed with questions and theories about their condition. Soft chime indicated an incoming transmission from Zelther Prime. Keth activated their secure communication array with trembling fingers, hoping for guidance, perhaps even a recall to their homeworld. The holographic image of High Counselor Vrax materialized before them, her sharp features creased. With concern. Report, Ambassador. Our long-range biomonitors are detecting significant anomalies in your physiological status. High Counselor, Keth began, their voice barely steady. The changes are accelerating beyond anything we anticipated. The humans are beginning to notice. Dr. Reeves has already documented irregular cellular activity. Vrax's expression hardened. You were briefed on the potential side effects before your assignment. The neural enhancement procedure was necessary to ensure successful diplomatic relations with the human species. You called it a minor adaptation. Keth's composure cracked. You never mentioned I would develop the ability to read their thoughts, or that my body would transform into something unrecognizable. The crystals are visible even through clothing now. Lower your voice, Vrax commanded sharply. The enhancement was designed to give you empathic abilities, allowing you to better understand human emotional responses. What you're experiencing represents an unexpected evolution of the process. Keth felt their heart sink. Evolution? This isn't temporary, is it? Our xenobiologists are studying the data we're receiving from your biomonitors. The crystalline formations appear to be creating a complex neural network that's interfacing with your existing nervous system. It's unprecedented. Can you reverse it? Keth asked desperately. Vrax's silence stretched for long moments before she finally spoke. Not at this time. You must continue your mission. Under no circumstances are you to reveal your condition to the humans. If they discover that we single quotes V.enhanced our diplomatic personnel, it could be interpreted as espionage or worse. I can barely control it, Keth whispered. Their thoughts, their emotions, they're becoming louder every day. Soon I won't be able to distinguish between their consciousness and my own. Then you must learn control quickly, Vrax replied coldly. The peace treaty negotiations begin in 2 weeks. We cannot afford to lose our strategic advantage now. The transmission ended, leaving Keth alone with the crushing weight of their isolation. They sank onto their sleeping platform as another wave of foreign thoughts washed over them. Someone 3 levels down was arguing with their family via long-distance communication, while a security officer made his rounds through the diplomatic wing, his mind focused on potential threats. The crystals across Keth's chest pulsed brighter as their distress increased, and they realized with growing horror that their emotional state was somehow amplifying their abilities. The more upset they became, the clearer the mental voices grew. As night settled over Europa Station, Keth lay in darkness, surrounded by the dreams and nighttime thoughts of hundreds of humans, wondering if they would ever experience silence again. Marcus Webb prided himself on running the tightest security operation in the outer colonies. 20 years of military experience had taught him that anomalies were usually early warnings of larger problems, which was why the energy readings he'd been tracking for the past week had him on edge. The patterns were subtle brief electromagnetic pulses originating from the diplomatic quarters, always at irregular intervals. His sensors couldn't pinpoint an exact source, but the readings were unlike anything in his database of known Zeltharian technology. "Director, we're seeing another spike," reported Officer Chun from her monitoring station. The young security specialist had been tracking the anomalies alongside Marcus, her technical expertise proving invaluable. "Same pattern?" Marcus asked, studying the holographic display that showed energy signatures throughout the station. "Similar, but stronger. Cancer ... It's corresponding with some unusual incident reports from medical." Marcus frowned. "What kind of incidents?" Chun pulled up several files. 3 crew members reported sudden, intense headaches yesterday, all occurring within the same hour. Dr. Patel in hydroponics mentioned feeling emotionally overwhelmed for no apparent reason during her shift. And there's been a significant increase in reported sleep disturbances throughout the station. The security chief's instincts prickled. "Time correlation with the energy spikes?" "Perfect match, sir. Every electromagnetic pulse corresponds with a reported incident somewhere on the station." Marcus stood, his expression grim. "Show me the source location." The holographic map zoomed in on the diplomatic section. The energy signatures were definitely emanating from Ambassador Keth's quarters, though the readings suggested movement throughout the area. "Has anyone else noticed this pattern?" Marcus asked. "Dr. Reeves requested access to our biomedical sensors yesterday. She seemed concerned about something, but wouldn't elaborate." Marcus made a decision that went against every diplomatic protocol. In his training manual, "I'm going to conduct a security wellness check on our guest. If there's some kind of technology malfunction that's affecting the crew, we need to know about it." He made his way through the station's curved corridors, noting the subtle signs of stress among the crew. People seemed more irritable than usual, and several normally social individuals were keeping to themselves. Whatever was happening, its effects were spreading at the diplomatic quarters. Marcus activated his personal scanner, a device capable of detecting energy signatures, biological anomalies, and potential security threats. The readings immediately spiked beyond normal parameters. The electromagnetic pulse emanating from within was intense and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. More disturbing were the secondary readings showing unusual brainwave patterns from multiple individuals throughout the section. It was as if something was creating a network of neural activity between different people. Marcus pressed the door, chime, and waited. When Ambassador Keth appeared, the security chief was struck by how different they looked. The usually immaculate diplomat appeared haggard, their clothing loose and concealing. But most notably, there was a faint luminescence visible around the edges of their high collar. "Chief Webb," Keth said, their voice carefully controlled. "How may I assist you?" "Routine security check, Ambassador. We've been detecting some unusual energy signatures in this section. Nothing to be concerned about, but I wanted to ensure all our diplomatic guests are comfortable and secure." As Marcus spoke, his handheld scanner continued recording. The readings were extraordinary bioelectric activity, far beyond normal Zeltharian parameters, and electromagnetic signatures that pulsed in complex patterns. Most alarming was the way his own brainwave patterns seemed to be synchronizing with the emanations. "I appreciate your diligence," Keth replied, but Marcus noticed how they kept their distance, avoiding direct eye contact. "I've experienced no difficulties with station systems." A sudden wave of vertigo struck Marcus, followed by an inexplicable flash of emotion, fear, desperation, and crushing loneliness that wasn't his own. For just a moment, he felt as if he was experiencing someone else's mental state entirely. Sensation passed as quickly as it came, but Marcus's training kicked in immediately. Whatever was happening here was beyond a simple equipment malfunction. Something was affecting human consciousness, and it was centered on their diplomatic guest. "Ambassador," Marcus said carefully, his hand moving instinctively toward his communication device. I think we need to have a conversation with Commander Valdez. Commander Jessa Valdez had commanded Europa Station for 7 years, navigating everything from supply crises to diplomatic incidents with calm efficiency. But the emergency briefing she'd just received from her security chief and head xenobiologist challenged everything she thought she knew about interspecies relations. "Let me understand this correctly," she said, studying the data displays surrounding her in the emergency command center. "You're telling me that Ambassador Keth has undergone some kind of biological transformation that's given them telepathic abilities?" Dr. Reeves nodded grimly. "The crystalline formations throughout their body appear to be creating a complex bioneural network. Based on my analysis, they're not just reading thoughts. They're unconsciously broadcasting emotional states and creating psychic interference throughout the station." Marcus Webb activated another holographic display. "Commander, we've documented over 40 incidents of crew members experiencing foreign emotions, sudden mood changes, and what they described as mental echoes. The pattern always centers on proximity to Ambassador Keth." Jessa felt a chill run down her spine. "And they claim this is a natural adaptation?" "That's where it gets complicated," Reeves continued. "I've run extensive comparisons with our Zeltharian biological database. This transformation isn't natural. It's the result of deliberate genetic modification." The implications hit Jessa like a physical blow. "They sent us an enhanced operative." "This was planned." "It appears so, Commander. The question is whether Ambassador Keth was aware of the full extent of what would happen to them." Before Jessa could respond, the station's communication array activated with an incoming priority transmission. The holographic image of Admiral Foster from Earth Command materialized in the center of the room. "Commander Valdez," the Admiral's voice was tense, "we've been monitoring unusual quantum communications traffic from the Zelther system. Our intelligence suggests they're planning to accelerate their diplomatic timeline. Are you experiencing any anomalies with your resident ambassador?" Jessa exchanged glances with her senior staff. "Admiral, we have reason to believe that Ambassador Keth has been enhanced with abilities that affect human consciousness." The Admiral's expression darkened. "Enhanced how?" Dr. Reeves stepped forward. "They appear to have developed telepathic capabilities through biological modification. The process is ongoing and seems to be getting stronger." "My God," Admiral Foster breathed. "Commander, this could be interpreted as an act of espionage, or even a prelude to invasion. If they can read our thoughts and influence our emotions—" "Sir," Jessa interrupted, "I don't believe Ambassador Keth is acting maliciously. From what we've observed, they seem to be struggling with their condition." "That may be irrelevant," the Admiral replied sharply. "If the Zeltharian government has developed the ability to create telepathic operatives, we need to assume they have others. How many enhanced individuals might they have placed throughout our colonies?" Marcus Webb's scanner suddenly erupted with activity. "Commander, we're reading a massive electromagnetic surge from the diplomatic quarters. Whatever's happening to Ambassador Keth, it's intensifying rapidly." Through the station's internal monitors, they could see crew members throughout the facility, stopping in their tracks, pressing their hands to their temples as if experiencing sudden headaches. Several people in the lower levels had collapsed entirely. "Dr. Reeves," Jessa ordered, "get to the diplomatic section immediately." "Webb, initiate." "Emergency protocols. I want all non-essential personnel moved to the outer sections." "Commander," Admiral Foster's voice cut through the chaos, "you have authorization to use whatever means necessary to contain this situation. We cannot allow telepathic contamination to spread beyond your station." As alarms began sounding throughout Europa Station, Jessa realized that they were facing something far more dangerous than a diplomatic incident. They were potentially witnessing the beginning of a new form of warfare, one that targeted the human mind itself. The crystalline transformation of Ambassador Keth wasn't just changing one individual. It was threatening to alter the fundamental nature of human-alien relations forever. All hands, Jessa announced over the station-wide communication system. We are implementing Containment Protocol 7. This is not a drill. Dr. Amelia Reeves ran through the station corridors as emergency lighting bathed everything in crimson. Behind her, the effects of Keth's uncontrolled abilities were spreading like a psychic shockwave. Crew members slumped against walls, overwhelmed by foreign emotions and memories that weren't their own. She burst into the diplomatic quarters to find Ambassador Keth writhing on the floor, their body completely covered in brilliantly glowing crystals. The formations had grown into elaborate networks that pulsed in perfect synchronization with their heartbeat. The air itself seemed to shimmer with electromagnetic energy. Keth. Amelia knelt beside them, her scanner registering bioelectric activity beyond any scale she'd ever seen. What's happening to you? Keth's amber eyes snapped open, filled with terror and something else, a swirling mixture of thousands of different consciousnesses. When they spoke, their voice carried harmonics that hadn't been there before. I can hear everyone, they gasped, their words barely coherent through the psychic storm. Every human on this station, their fears, their hopes, their memories. They're all becoming part of me, and I'm becoming part of them. Amelia's medical training kicked in as she tried to make sense of the readings. The neural network, it's not just telepathy anymore. You're creating a collective consciousness. Every mind you touch becomes connected to every other mind. I never wanted this, Keth whispered, tears streaming down their crystalline face. My government. They said it would help me understand humans better. They never told me it would. Consume us both. Through the station's communication system, Commander Valdez's voice echoed, Dr. Reeves, Earth Command is preparing to implement sterilization protocols. You have 15 minutes to find a solution before they destroy the entire station to prevent contamination spread. Amelia felt her heart racing as she studied her scanner data. The crystalline formations weren't just alien technology. They were creating something entirely new. A bridge between species that could either herald a new era of understanding or destroy the individuality that made both races unique. Keth, listen to me, she said urgently. The crystals are responding to your emotional state. When you panic, they broadcast stronger. When you fight the connection, it becomes more chaotic. How do I stop it? Keth pleaded. Amelia made a decision that went against every scientific protocol she'd ever learned. You don't stop it, you control it. She placed her hands directly on the crystalline formations covering Keth's arms. Immediately, her mind was flooded with the ambassador's thoughts and feelings, but also with fragments of every consciousness on the station. The sensation was overwhelming, like trying to listen to 1,000 conversations at once. But within the chaos, she sensed something remarkable. The connections weren't just random neural static. They were creating understanding. For the first time, she could feel what it was like to be Zeltharian. Their long lifespans, their deep connection to cosmic rhythms, their genuine desire for peaceful coexistence. I can feel your fear, she said to Keth, but I can also feel your hope. And through you, I can sense that the other humans aren't just being invaded, they're being offered a choice. Keth's crystals pulsed more gently as they focused on Amelia's voice. A choice? To remain individual, or to voluntarily join something larger. But it has to be voluntary. The crystal network can facilitate connection without forcing it. Working. Together, they began to modulate the electromagnetic pulses. Instead of chaotic broadcasting, the crystals started transmitting a simple message, an invitation to understanding with the explicit option to decline. Throughout Europa Station, the psychic chaos began to subside. Crew members found they could still sense the alien presence, but it no longer overwhelmed their individual consciousness. Some chose to explore the connection, experiencing brief moments of true interspecies empathy. Others politely declined, returning to their normal mental states. Commander Valdez's voice came over the communication system again, this time filled with wonder. Earth Command, this is Europa Station. A crisis has stabilized. We're not looking at contamination. We're looking at evolution. As the emergency lighting returned to normal, Amelia helped Keth to their feet. The ambassadors. Crystals still glowed, but now with a warm, welcoming light rather than chaotic brilliance. What happens now? Keth asked. Amelia smiled, still feeling the gentle touch of alien consciousness at the edges of her mind. Now we learn what it really means to understand each other. The transformation that had begun as a diplomatic disaster had become something unprecedented, the first step toward true unity between species, built not on domination, but on choice and mutual respect.